our little level 17 paladin finally got his shot to take on one of the most notorious, criminal, vicious, and legendary opponents on the Diablo 2 BattleNet realm. Come to find out, he's also a pretty expensive boss. Cost me a lot of SOJs. I saved up a metric ass ton of SOJs and sold them in-game to merchants until finally Diablo walked the earth. All just so I could kill this guy with a level 17. I hope you guys like this video. So let me show you from my perspective how we took on DClone with a level 17 paladin. So I saved up about 140 SOJs here, and I just dive into this game on server 70 and start selling them. You'll notice that the first SOJ sale, a message pops up, says 30 Stones Jordan sold to merchants. The game will only let one of those messages pop up per minute, unless one of those SOJ sales spawns Diablo. So you can see I'm just reloading from my cube here, start selling SOJs again, and I'm just plowing into them. Some people try to wait on selling them. They try to, drown it out for as long as they can. I just crank them right out, man. If my theory is correct, there's a 1% chance that every SOJ sale will spawn Diablo, so I'm just gonna put my money where my mouth is and just sell them. But you can see I had to go get another character here, reload up on the SOJs. We start selling them again, and that's the third SOJ message that's popped up. And I'm not sure if you've been keeping track or keeping count here, but we're rolling up on the end of the SOJs that I end up selling. The total count, what it broke down to finally, was 78 SOJs right there. 78th SOJ. It says Diablo walks the earth. That's the message that we're waiting for. We got it. We still have some SOJs to spare, so I'm pretty pumped about that. Probably not enough to pop another server, though. So from here, I go and get my level 17, and we actually venture to the Arcane Sanctuary. I'm going to go into this little portal right here. There's actually a super unique boss that's always just on the other side of this portal, so it's almost guaranteed that Diablo is going to be right there. There's actually a lot of benefits to spawning Diablo right there, especially if you don't really have a strong character that's just going to gank him real quick. If you're going to take your time at it, it's a good idea to use that portal because you don't have to open up a Scroll of Town portal to go into town, and that Scroll of Town portal will actually keep that monster active while it's in the same area as them. So DClone, if you opened up a town portal here instead, he could actually heal a lot more by the time you get back to him. It's better to just completely leave the area and then come back and reload the monster. They may still heal, but it won't nearly be as much as if you kept a town portal right next to him. Additionally, if I ever do this again, I'd probably load up more rejuvenation potions on the other side of that portal. As you can notice right here, I sort of ran out and Diablo is like guarding the portal. I had it for a frame there, but I didn't manage to click it. So now I'm just trying to get Diablo out of the way so I can go back in the portal, reload some potions. I actually ended up going to town, buying some healing potions and trying those out instead. Let's see if these healing potions are enough to take on DClone here. Figure they're just as good, I wasn't necessarily in need of those full rejuves, was I? I mean, my life was going down at an okay rate, but all right, let's try these healing potions here, see how good they work. Yeah, no, that's we're gonna have to get some more full rejuves. Those full rejuves are necessary. You can't get life tap on a level 17. much like you can with a higher level. So just out of spite here, I take a few more cracks at Diablo. Try to cut him open before I go back to town. I knew I was due for a town trip anyway. I'm gonna restock on full rejuves, but I just wanted to cut him open so he didn't heal as much. Whenever he has open wounds procced and you see that blood all over the floor, they can't heal. So I just tried to do that before I made another town trip. So what we do is we stock up on full rejuves, chuck those in the belts, and get ready for round 2 here. Give Farah a good old kiss before we head back into battle. Make sure we're all fully healed up. And you can see Diablo has healed a little bit, but it's not nearly as much as if you would have opened the town portal and taken all of that time in town. You notice I also keep my screen open here a little bit. Every once in a while, I'll just need a mana potion. And I wasn't sure how long it would take me to kill DClone or how many full rejuves I needed. So I didn't want to just use a full rejuve if all I needed was mana. But yeah, it's an interesting balance. It actually takes far more mana to start ganking this dude than I thought it would. But I was actually pretty pumped that this is probably the first time that Server 70 has ever been popped. I say ever, but I really should say ever since they brought Server 70 back. As you know, with all of the craziness that was going on in the servers before, games crashing, entire servers crashing, waiting lines, all of this stuff, BattleNet actually introduced probably 100 new servers for people to create games and play on. And one of the results of that is the SOJ counts reset on all of those servers, which is, it never happens. The SOJ counts continually go up for life. But it was very unique to see a very low SOJ count on the server. And just around this time, Diablo actually breaks my weapon from all of my smiting. That actually takes durability out of your weapon there too, when you're smacking them with your shield. So I had to revisit the stash, go get that repaired, talk to Farah, and then I actually loaded back up on some full rejuves there again. And we go in for what's hopefully the last round. It better be the last round because I don't have many full rejuves left. I'm hoping I can get it done. I thought a whole stash full of full rejuves was enough, but as the battle went on, I'm like, well, shit, maybe I should have packed up some more. As you can see, the last mile with Diablo's life total is the hardest. But finally, we got it. We killed DClone with the level 17. By the time we were done, we actually got about a level and a half. So after the Diablo kill there, he's actually level 18 and a half just about. Not bad for killing one monster, right? So we go into town, we identify this unique small charm, which is of course Annihilus, and we got 11, 13, 10. It's nothing to write home about, but it's mine. And I did it with a level 17. The theme behind this build was sort of to pay homage to one of the OG YouTubers for Diablo 2, Extimus. If you remember back in the day, he did a video about a level 18 paladin who took on DClone. So we did this as sort of a sign of some friendly one-upmanship to Extimus. Shout out to you, my friend. After the last video where we took on DClone and the server crashed, so we essentially failed, a lot of people were asking what this guy's using for gear and what the build is, so I want to take a moment and show you that. The skill point allocation for this guy is actually super simple. You'll notice that I actually do have an extra skill point, and I actually have extra stat points here as well. This is because we're looking at this after I've killed DClone with this guy, so he actually got about a level and a half off of that, which is pretty insane. But I've kept that extra skill point unallocated so you can see exactly what the skill levels were before we took on the beast himself. It's rather simple. All you gotta do is just dump as many points as you can into Smite, and the rest of them go right into Might. Smite and Might, you can't miss. You might have noticed I also put 1 point into Charge. That's because I wasn't sure if I had to either charge away or if I wanted to, for style point purposes, charge at DClone. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I did put 1 point into Charge. You definitely shouldn't. It's also pretty simple with the stats. Just dump everything right into Vitality. Now, the pretty impressive thing about this guy is even with all points into Vitality, not only does he still have enough strength points to wear all of his gear, but he also has max block, which is pretty sweet. If you know anything about the builds that I do for PvP or really anything, I love max block. It's one of my favorite features of the game. Super OP. And I always love having it, and I wanted to go in prepared against one of the most vicious beasts in the game, especially at level 17. So thankfully I actually didn't have to put any points into dexterity for this guy to have max block. So let's look at the reasons why this guy not only has max block, but he has a ton of life, and he was able to, after a epic struggle, take down one of the most notorious beasts in the game. First and foremost, the #1 weapon that I would not suggest anything else if you're taking on DClone is the Gnasher. This is actually a level 5 item, but I've put a jewel in here that gives +6 dexterity and all resistances +10. Obviously, when you're going up against DClone, all resistances are pretty important. You'll notice that this guy's resistances are pretty well maxed. A lot of that has to do with the choice of the shield, however. This shield has a couple of jewels in it and some flawless gems. You actually can't use perfect gems at level 17. You need to be level 18 to use those, so we had to actually settle for the flawless gems here. The helm was interesting. It was just kind of garbage, really. I used it because it had 2 open sockets and 10% faster hit recovery. It also had a little bit of inherent life on it. There's also another option you could use, and I'll actually go to my stash in town and show you. This is the helm I was originally going to use. It's just a superior crown with 3 flawless gems in it, 3 flawless rubies, and that will give you +93 to life. But I figured I saved 9 stat points by not going up to 55 strength. So those 9 stat points equate to about 27 life as it is. So technically, this helm gave me a little bit more life. I've seen some other builds of low levels that try to take on Uber bosses and DClone. I cannot understand for the life of me why they wouldn't use Death's Set, or at least partial Death Set. If you're a Smiter, increased attack speed is super important. Death's Gloves, along with Death's Belt, give you a lot of good stats for this situation, right? They give you 30% increased attack speed, and also the belt gives you cannot be frozen. You might have noticed in the fight, DClone is doing that cold claw all the time, and if that hits you, it actually freezes you, slows you down, so you're not smiting as quickly. I think cannot be frozen is super important for this build. It's also very hard to get at a low level. I think this is one of the only ways that you can do it. You could also put thawing potions in your belt, but who really wants to do that and sacrifice spots for like full rejuves or mana pots or whatnot? As you saw, those are quite important in that battle. As for the Ammi, I have Angelic Wings, and I put that together with 1 Angelic Halo or Angelic Ring. Now, before you go off and tell me you don't need AR for Smite, I know. This was for the big boost to dexterity, allowing me to get to that max block, but also a huge boost to life. Not only do you get 20 from the ring alone, but in the partial set bonus, you get +75. Another cool thing about this combo is that it gives 20% damage taken goes to mana. You notice how much mana was a problem in that fight, right? This just makes it so that when Diablo clone smacks you, you actually get some mana back, and you might not necessarily have to rely so much on mana potions or full rejuves just to recover your mana. The other ring that I have gives me plus to strength, replenish life, and just cold and lightning resistance. Although people might think that DClone is just straight up fire damage, he also does do cold damage and lightning damage. And of course, if I'm going into a firefight, I gotta have the Hotspurs, right? As far as the armor, I think Twitch Throw is the #1 choice. Just all of the stuff that this gives you. It gives you increased attack speed for your smite, right? It gives you faster hit recovery, increased chance of blocking, and +10 strength and dexterity. Pretty sick armor at such a low level, and especially for this build, I don't think there's a better option you could choose. You might have seen that the inventory is full of charms. These are basically just 15 to life small charms, with the level requirement being 17. And many of them have a bunch of other useful mods. Ideally, you would just want resistance, but some of them have just other random mods on them. Most important thing is you want 15 to life on all these small charms. But yeah, that's the basic build for this level 17 Smiter who took on DClone. This was a D2 bucket list item for me. I've always wanted to pop my own Diablo clone server, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to do that and to share it with you. What should we do next? Let me know down in the comments. Throw some ideas out there. Let me know what you thought. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.